Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 3 between these two Protoss players. These replays are taken from the MSI Saturday Showdown, which happened on the... God, I've forgotten what the date is. I'm pretty sure it was the 8th was last Saturday, but... oh, actually, hang on, it may be in the 10th. I don't know. Whatever. Some kind of day, just recently, in November of 2013... if you are viewing us from the future, welcome. Maybe you're in Legacy of the Void, I don't know. It could be crazy, sort of watching back quite a lot to see what the game was like back in Heart of the Swarm, if you are into that kind of thing. Speaking of which, guys, if you haven't already seen, I have been doing a little series every now and then. Every couple of weeks, I'll post a VOD of vintage StarCraft, where I go back. I have there's a replay site that you can grab all sorts of old content from, and it's really cool just looking back at how the game used to be played way back. I'm talking like way back in early Wings of Liberty of like 2010 and 11. So please do jump on and catch all that kind of stuff. I'll be posting on Facebook. Facebook.com/stockfield.casting is where you can find all the information about all the content that I've been producing, SC2 and Dota 2 and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, let's get into game number 3 here as our teal Protoss up the top left-hand side of Akalon Wastes. It is Arthur, who is teamless, as I mentioned in game number 1. I mentioned he's teamless at the moment, which is still a little bit surprising to me. I'm even kind of surprised that even just, you know, it doesn't have to be like, you know, your EG, your TL that picks him up. I'm just sort of surprised that even some of the, you know, the tier 2, tier 3 sort of teams in EU or NA haven't even looked at grabbing him. But I don't know, maybe there's something else going on behind the scenes. Down at the bottom right-hand side, this guy is part of a very strong C-based team. It is from Team Flash, Blysk. And Blysk went for a bit of an expansive style in the previous game, went for a 1-gate expansion into a robo, into 3 gates. Unfortunately, Arthur, with some very clever kind of tactics, was able to draw out a photon overcharge inside the main base, forced Blysk into a very unfortunate position, blocked off the ramp, and then was able to smash him apart with a couple of, well, I suppose it was actually partly Blysk as well. He sort of moved into a little bit of an unfortunate position where he got caught out in sort of the middle of nowhere in a way. And it was to be the death of him. We will see Blysk opening up in a much more standard kind of style here with the 2-gate. Of course, it'll turn into a 3-stalker rush here from Blysk. Meanwhile, on Arthur's side, we did get his Chrono Boost is being added on to the Cybernetics core, so it looks like he may go for some aggression here. Now, obviously, you don't have to be aggressive if you are going to, you know, when you open up as Protoss, like with going for this 2-gate kind of style, you do see some people will try and just threaten aggression, just pretend to be aggressive. But what we can see from the Cybernetics core being Chrono Boosted is that Arthur does really want to get some pressure going down. Now, I suspect from what he's got at the moment, he's got, yeah, just a 2 gas with a 3 and 3 in each, and yeah, that constant Chrono Boost on the Wolfgate tech is going to signal it'll probably be just some 3-gate aggression. Rarely ever do we see 4-gate this day and age, just simply because people have found that 3 gates can be a little bit more efficient. It's a little bit of an easier way to, you know, prepare for any possible opposing aggression. But interestingly, we will get a Stargate and 3 gates from Blysk as well. So he's going to go for a little bit more of a tech-based opening here, and we'll see if he is able to catch out any of the units that Arthur has been sending across. In fact, he will. Almost could have got another volley off from all 3 of those Stalkers there, but was not able to finish it off. Arthur coming forward with 2 Stalkers, a Mothership core. The probe is going to go off to the side, and will probably be placing a pylon down somewhere over here, I would imagine, once he gets there. But there will be a little bit of a fight in the middle. We'll see if the Time Warp is thrown down by the Mothership core. In fact, losing a Mothership core and a Stalker here is, losing the Mothership core is Arthur, and Blysk losing a Stalker. I almost got that backwards. But we do see that Arthur is looking to push forwards and try and get some aggression going. Here comes the Stalker and a couple of sentries to try and block off the probe, but not able to get anything done there. So we'll see how Arthur is going to maneuver himself from here. It looks like a Twilight Council is coming up. Wants to get his Blink Tech or perhaps the Dark Shrine up and running. No chance of an expansion at the moment. He's going to leave a couple of sentries here just to guard the ramp. If he, you know, if he detects any units coming off, we'll just get a force field there to block them off. And Arthur is, well, is he undecided as to what he's going to go for here? I think he may be. He's just a little bit unsure of where he's going to go at the moment. So he falls back. He does have a couple of pylons here. He's noticed that his opponent is not expanding. So this is why we do get a little bit of, you know, a possible sort of hesitation there from Arthur. He's noticed that his opponent is expanding, which means that the money that Blysk is accruing is going into something else. So the Stargate is producing a Void Ray. We actually see an Oracle now making its way across the opposite side of the map, identifying that he is not going to have an easy time getting in here and getting some damage done on the probes. He's going to throw down a Revelation and keep an eye on where those units are. As we can see, the that little skill is pretty cool. I actually think that's still a little bit underrated, but now after the latest patch it gets a little bit more of a buff because borrowed units will be revealed by the Revelation, and he's going to come inside, sees that there's a few more Stalkers here, will not really be able to get too much done. Blysk, meanwhile, on his side of the map, is looking to expand, but there is a pylon in the way, so we'll see if Arthur is going to continue to threaten or if he's going to just sort of sit back and expand. I think, well, Blysk definitely wants to expand right here. He's got a probe ready to go. Arthur did have one down at the natural, but he has actually sent that out across the map to try and get some more proxy pylon action going, I think. But we'll see that Arthur is going to scout out what his opponent is up to, double checking the natural. Where is that expansion? Alright, he hasn't expanded yet, and we can see that there was a Stargate, a Void Ray, and an Immortal is now prepared for Blysk. So he has lots of power. This is very strong defensive kind of opening here from Blysk. He's got the Immortals out, the Void Rays as well are extremely powerful when it comes to defending against the Stalkers, which is a very common component of early to mid-game PvP. And Arthur, with his Blink Tech finished up, is going to be pushing forwards. We'll see how much damage he can get done here because Blysk is still not expanded, and I think that Arthur is sort of just assuming that Blysk is going to expand very soon and wanted to take advantage of that. As we can see, the army supply for Arthur is up at 42, but now with Blysk up to 41 of his own with Immortals and the Void Rays as well. Looks like Arthur is going to blink forwards. The Void Rays, however, are activated. The Immortals also going to town on a lot of the units. Unfortunately, Blysk not targeting down the Stalkers, but there he goes. He does finally get them. The Mothership Core will also be torn apart by the Void Rays, and Blysk, well, that's a Venn diagram of time warps. Look at that. So these units in the middle are pretty cool. These ones are kind of cool, and these ones are Zerg units. So that's why we don't have any over there. But Blysk has defended the push. Of course, he did lose an Immortal there, I believe. Yeah, it looks like we did lose an Immortal and a couple of those other units that were there. But it looks as if Blysk is going to look for his own kind of counter-aggression here. If he can put a pylon down and stop Arthur from expanding, that'd be quite nice here. And he does. Okay, cool. So he blocks off the expansion, which is quite nice. Arthur looks to sort of threaten the front door still. He's going to be very careful about how he pushes forwards, because if he pushes too far, the Immortals are going to blast his Stalkers apart. Of course, the Void Rays need to be very careful. The chandeliers up in the sky are very vulnerable if they sort of move out of position and they don't have too much cover from Stalkers or the Zealots on the ground, then they can be quite vulnerable. Arthur identifying a little bit of a weak spot here, will blink back a couple of his units as he attempts to pick off some of the Stalkers of Blysk, but Blysk has just got so much power. There is a force field at the bottom there, just in case you couldn't see it. But Blysk is now going to bust out, and this is a very dangerous part for Arthur, because he will know that his army is going to have a very hard time competing against the Immortals and the Void Rays of Blysk. And now the big question is raised. Is Blysk just going to try and counter-attack here? Looks like the answer will be a yes. The pylon has now been spotted by Arthur. There was a secondary pylon as well, but that has been taken out, and Blysk is going to push forwards. This is a very dangerous position for Arthur at this point here. We even have the Oracle that was, well, he got a couple of kills, but not really a huge amount. It did get inside and look to get some more damage done. I think what Blysk is going to do here is going to threaten the front door, pretend that he's coming in, bring across the Oracle, and then actually try and get some work kills inside the main. But no, looks like Arthur is too well prepared, blinks across, deflects the Oracle, but it did get a Revelation down in time. So Blysk is going to be able to keep an eye on what's inside there. But I mean, it is all happening at the front door here. Arthur is, well, he's in a lot of trouble. He can't really expand for the moment. He's behind in tech a little bit. We still have no form of a robo from Arthur, so he's really going to be relying on his micro and his blink prowess. But here we go. moving forward is Blysk. He's got the high ground vision from the Void Race, but behind this, he is now finally expanding. We've got a Nexus now coming up. This is almost like a Wings of Liberty base play from these two players because they've been sitting on one base for the longest of times. But now we can see that Blysk is going to fall back. He stopped his opponent from getting his expansion for quite a while there, and has identified that you know, now is the time when he can fall back, get his economy into shape, and start to move towards some higher tech. And in fact, that is exactly what Blysk is going to do with the Robo Bay now starting up. And we'll see if he gets some Colossi out, because it could be there is the potential for a pretty strong kind of 2-base timing here for Blysk, given that his opponent is so far behind in tech. Arthur really only starting his Robo facility now. He's been stuck in the Dark Ages, well, sort of a little bit of the Dark Ages. I mean, you have Blink, which is pretty damn cool, but I mean, when you don't have a Robo, you don't have a Stargate, your expansion is extremely late, it means that you're going to have a pretty tough time. So we'll see what Blysk is going to do here. I think what he's going to do is look for a couple Colossi. He's chrono boosting out that extended thermal lance so that he can try and stay in the lead, and in fact chrono boosting a Colossus as well. So what I think we're going to see from Blysk is perhaps just a simple 2-base push. We're not going to see an expansion at all. Looks like Arthur is potentially looking to jump inside the main base. Gets the scout off with the hallucinated Phoenix. Does get in there. Should be able to pick off maybe 1 or 2 probes and force his opponent to come back inside the main. In fact, everything of Blysk is now coming back in. Perhaps not the best idea, because everything else is at the front door there for Arthur. He is getting a couple of kills off. Very nicely done. A total of 11 work kills, which isn't too bad considering he's been on the back foot a little bit here. But Blysk is in a little bit of trouble at his front door. He does take out most of the stalkers inside the main base, but loses a pylon. May lose a gate here at the front as well. Yes, he does. Arthur, with some good blink back, should be able to keep a lot of these stalkers alive, and this is buying him time to set up his own tech. As we can see back on his side of the map, and a model is coming out. We've got the Robo Bay also coming through now, and keep in mind that Arthur has blitzed ahead in terms of the worker count. He's up at 39 compared to the 26 of Blysk, so Blysk is going to need to either execute some kind of timing here, or perhaps try and just, you know, get a couple of gateways up and then go for a big push very soon, because, you know, Blysk, slowly but surely, Arthur is going to be able to come back into this, and with Immortals now coming out, he's going to have some very powerful units here, and we'll see if he is able to take advantage of that. But Blysk wants to check out what is going on the other side of the map. Both players, in fact, utilizing the hallucinated Phoenix, and it looks as if Arthur just scouting through. He's going to see that the Colossus count is getting pretty high. Well, he's starting to beef up a little bit. We've got 2 there for Blysk over on his side of the map. The Phoenix will have to back off for a moment there. I think the hallucination from Blysk got killed off. Yeah, it did. There is a pylon over on the other side of the map, but the army for Blysk is really starting to beef up now. We've got a 3rd Colossus just about to pop out now, and we can see that he does have a forge as well for just for the cannons here. I don't think he wants to go for upgrades. He just kind of wants to put together a big force to push out and assault his opponent, and it looks like that is exactly what he's preparing to do. Extra gateway now done, which takes us to a total of 5 gateways for Blysk, not to mention the power of those 3 Colossi that are out right now. As we can see overall on Arthur's side of the map, a couple of Immortals, a few Zealots on the ground, which aren't really going to do too much, and the first Colossus now pops out for him. He's really, really far behind when it comes to the power of his army though. So what he is going to do is utilize the mobility of his Blink Stalkers. Wait, is he? No? I think he's looking for these Colossi. Maybe he can get a shot off on a couple of the Colossi. Like, this one is actually pretty low on shields, so it's quite vulnerable at the moment, but I'm a little bit surprised he didn't try and come in and threaten the natural base here. Like, there is now a cannon for Blysk, and I think he recognizes that he has a big timing here, but he is going to go for it. The Colossus catching out a couple of the Stalkers here, blinking around as Arthur, but he is going to be forced to back off for now. The proxy pylon is close, but not too close here for Blysk, but he is now going to move into position. We have got a very large army here for Blysk. Hallucinations are coming out from Arthur, but I think it's not going to be enough. The Colossi now pushing forwards. The Void Race, keep in mind, doing that bonus damage against the Colossus of Arthur, and now Arthur is just getting torn apart. Probes coming out. Unfortunately, probes don't do too well. Immortals at the back battling with the Blink Stalkers of Arthur, but that is way too much for Arthur to deal with, and he is forced to tap out. So game number 3 goes the way of Blysk here, taking out a very strong Korean Protoss player here. Really nicely done, and Blysk will obviously move forward. You can catch some of the VODs of the MSI Saturday Showdown over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DuckvilleLol, and if you want to see some more, let me know. I'll do some more casts very soon. I'll catch you all next time. Here, as you can see, 47 damage to bio units and then the 34 damage against other standard targets. His storms have also been wonderful, just spreading them out across the battlefield, doing really, really nicely there. And for minigun, he's been sticking with a much more